Howdy folks, how we going? Welcome to the brewery. I'm finally getting this fella out of the box. Some of you may remember when I talked about buying this. Yeah, people are saying, what is it? Well, it's obviously it's a Nano X. It's from Cheeky Peak. It's a 36 litre, well, they're all in one Nano X system. This is the last ones they had they were selling before they decided they were getting out of the home brew gear and going into the bigger focus on stuff. And I got this nice and cheap. Everyone knows I've run Nano gear for a while. I run the Brewzilla. I've also had the Nano gear. I had the 50 litre mash tun / brew kettle for quite a while, and I've used that plenty here on the channel. I've had the same pot. I've had this same pot, 36 litre pot. Well, it was a Nano, not a Nano X, but I've had that quite a while. That was my original HLT on my free vessel system back when I was using the Esky ton, the Techni Ice, and I was boiling in the 50 litre. When this came up, I was really interested. I've seen them around. I was really interested in this system, but it was just too much money. I think at the time, initially, for the full setup, it was somewhere in the vicinity of about $600, and that was more than I was going to spend, especially considering I had a very more than adequate 50 litre mashing and brewing system and the Brewzilla. But when they come up, when they were clearing the stuff off, I couldn't say no. I think I paying about $320 with a few extra bits and pieces which are in the box. But this has been sitting around, hasn't it? I opened it just to check, just have a sort of quick look into it. When it first arrived, but I haven't even had the whole thing out of the box. I've been waiting to get around to doing it. Just to give you an idea, just checking the date on here on the shipping label, and it was dispatched on the 26th of April last year. So I've had it for over a year. I've had it for 14 months at this point. And it's been sitting in the new brewery that moved over. And the plan was to get into this and make this my regular brewing setup. Sort of get rid of the Brewzilla. Well, not get rid of it, but maybe incorporate it in other ways. Part of that thinking was the fact that I'm doing so many 14 litre batches, which are just a little bit difficult on the Brewzilla because it's hard to get them chilled and stuff, and it's not really well designed for that sort of size. I was hoping this might work a little bit better. Again, there's limitations, but I was hoping this might work. If there's nothing else, it was a backup for when the Brewzilla does die. It's been iffy for quite a while. I've got to press the power button 3 times for it to actually turn on. From there it works fine, but there is some indications and some trouble within the actual circuit board. I know you can replace them and all the rest of it, but backup nonetheless. So I've been getting a little bit more work done here in the brewery. It happens in very small amounts at a go, let me tell you. But I've just shuffled the 50 litre Nano out of this system, down into the garage into storage for the time being, and it's time to get this sucker out. It's sitting around Monday afternoon, not a lot going on. So let's get into it. Now I'm going to move it down here, the box, just onto a milk crate. Just I've got the bench to work on, so you're not going to see exactly what's going on, but we'll pull stuff out. Having a beer while we go. So This might get a little bit jittery and stuff as we go, but anyway. Okay, there's our lid. And this is part of the reason why I went with this. Why I finally pulled the button. It's got the recirculation set up ready for the lid, the triclover fittings. And there's a few extra pieces that come along with it, making the the recirculation stuff fairly interesting. Obviously they're looking to get rid of a bunch of stuff, so they're getting a bit to work with. But anyway, put in there. We've got our basket. Yeah. This I'm sort of fairly interested in, so I think this is an interesting setup. Over the malt pipe in the brewzilla, I think it allows a little bit more circulation from water around the mash instead of just dropping through. It gives you a little bit more access. But whether that's a thing or not, who bloody knows? It might be all in my, might just all be grabbed in my head. There's a box of goodies. Yeah. This I've had out of the box, and I did check what was in here when I first got it. So, a few bits and pieces there. Put it aside. That'd be our element. Here's the workhorse of the unit. The Nano pot. And around there, and you'll see she's got ports and things up the yin yang. Well, not that many, well it is. Certainly more than the old Nano pot, the 50 litre, which I said was just a Nano, wasn't the Nano X, had obviously port for your element. It did had a port on the bottom, and it was not triclover. These are all triclover. I'm pretty sure it was just a drilled hole, so the bloody tap was just stuck in there and threaded on and sealed up with washers. So you got a entry port for your tap. You got a spot here which you can use. You can put a whirlpool, especially you could put a whirlpool in there if you wanted to. You could stick your thermo well in there. I think it comes with a thermo well. I think that's what's designed in there. Sorry, you got your second port around here, so that would ideally would be your whirlpool. I suppose technically you could use that as a recirculation point if you wanted to, as opposed to recirculating back onto the top. That's the box. Empty of everything rubbish. Let's get that out of the way. Okay. The old proverbial tip Christmas. I was pretty keen to get this fella. That's bloody. Oh, let's tilt that down without losing. We'll tilt that down a bit so we can actually see a bit better. Right, so we've got the elements. That's going to go around here in the big port, which is a. Looking at that, I'll say it's 2 inches. I think these are 1.5s on the front. These three, they're a 1.5 triclover. Okay. So there's PR cable for the element. We'll leave that for the moment. Like I said, I'm not going to put this together right now on the video. I'm just going to sort of have a bit of a look what's in here. So that'll be a bit fiddly. I might leave the camera running while I've got getting in. So, like I said, because they'll clear this stuff, they come with a little bit more stuff than you would normally get. So there's a sight glass, so that will go off there. and the tap's already on there, so you've got your sight glass with your tap. So while you're recirculating, you can actually get a good look at your colour. This box is very heavy. There's a lot of fittings. So we got tri-clovers, our clamps should be free. There's 3 1.5 inches, and there's our 2 for our element. So that's good. Those. So I've got some rubber gaskets for the tri-clovers. 1 tap. Again, double. Got your tri-clover at both ends. That ball valve. Another ball valve, same thing. So there's one for the inlet. There's one's for the recirculation, or the whirlpool, depending on what you set up, and one's to go into the lid with the recirculation set up running from there. So we've got another bunch of tri-clovers. That's a smaller one. That's 1.5 as well. Whirlpool arm, the pickup arm. So one for recirculation, one for draining. Continuing tri-clovers. We've got our that's our connectors for our hoses, so that will go tap on there. In this case, nothing go that way. And I guess that's our connection for our hoses. Lovely. Couple of blank tri-clover covers, so we can just close off all 3 of these if I needed to. So the reality is I could run this as a pot if I wanted to. A couple more tri-clover clamps, and last of all is the shower ball for the recirculation. So that's circle ball which goes into the bottom of the lid and gives us our spray ball for when we're recirculating the wort. Let's have a look. Because this one sort of puzzled me a little bit when I was getting the setup. But how does this actually get in? But I think the reality is we'll just sit under the tri-clover on top, and we'll just screw on the bottom. So recircle will run from here through the pump back into there and recircle back in the top, so that'll need tap set up on there, and that, bang. So it starts getting a little I was going to say cumbersome, but also at the same time starts looking like some professional sort of gear. Your bits and pieces absolutely hang off everywhere. So there's a lot of fittings involved in making these setups work at their best. That just that bit itself is like probably twice the size of what I was expecting from what I was looking at on the website to what it actually is. It's a big bit of gear. Anywho's, onward Christian soldiers. Actually, it's just occurring to me, this needs to be, I need to passivate this. So yeah, we're not going to put it together. I'm not going to put it together right now. And I need to passivate, which means I need to put the stainless through a process of ensuring that the stainless plating on the pot is intact and not going to be damaged. There's several ways you can do it. The easiest way from us in the home brew world is like so. Phosphoric sanitizer, our normal sanitizer, and one clean cloth of the Chucks or El Cheapo variation variety. And what we're going to do is just rub the whole surface with undiluted sanitizer. As I said, it creates a reaction between the exactly what molecules I don't know, but between molecules within the stainless and that helps to keep the stainless coating. If you don't do this, you do run the risk that you can scratch the pot, damage that stainless coating, and then have your pot slowly wear out over time. Yeah, it is an investment and it should last you forever, or at least a very, very long time. Yeah. Like this stuff's pretty heavy duty. There's no reason why, looked after, that my grandkids couldn't be brewing beer on this down the track. But, so I do that and just let that sit for a little while. I can't remember how long exactly it is, but I'll give it about half an hour and I'll rinse it all out. Righto folks, it's the next day, pot's been passivated, little John's been passivated. Let's look at putting this fella together. I'm going to chop and change a little bit, but you'll get a bit of an idea. I might even move the camera angle around and just focus on the actual parts because you can't see them real good from there. Hold on tight. Don't let go, for fuck's sake. Righto. So, what's it? It's 3 ports, which you can use for various options. Now, I don't have a thermowell. That's not included in the gear, which doesn't worry because I take me temperature reading on the inlet to the pump, so that's all good. So first thing I want to do is just put a cover on this fella. So it's just a blank lid, triclover. Yeah, there's a bit of a ridge around the edge there, which goes into the ridge on there, and there's also a ridge on here. So they sit in nicely, so we get that. Get ourselves a clamp. Can be a little fiddly when you're not really in the practice of using them. You see the proper bloody brewers dicking around, they bloody talk about bloody throwing these things on one-handed when they've got practice with them. Little John's not at that point. So they just clips on, locks over, and you screw it down. And generally, it should only need to be done screw. Yeah, finger tight. That should make a good seal. So that's that. I'm going to stick the whirlpool in next because I'll get that done so I can then work on the. So I need whirlpool pipe, the elbow. Now that will go into the pot, and obviously it will go and sit in there at an angle so we can whirlpool around the bottom. Not to be confused with a recirculation. So let's have a look at how this is going to work. Pull all the bits off our ball valve. Now, make sure I'm putting the ball valve the right way because it's not going to go up. It's not going to go that way. We can't get it on. Like so. So we've got to make sure we've got it going the right way. And that whirlpool arm, I think these elbows, we've got a double washer on there, and I'm assuming that it will just push into the body of the tap and just slides in. So again, throw a washer on. Clamp ready. She goes. Clamp on. Now, of course, you can put these bloody movers around anywhere you want. And I'm going to stick my tap on the top, but the reality is you could put it sideways. You know, you could. No, not going to do that. You could twist it to the side and have the tap going up and down, which I'm thinking would actually work quite well. But let's just go with that. And I assume that I can just move that whirlpool arm fairly easily. Seems to have a pretty good grip in there. So that's her. So onto there will go our disconnect, and one more gasket. One more tri-clover clamp. Onto the front. On she goes. Well, we got plenty of room there to operate our tap. So that's our whirlpool arm on. Obviously closed. Open when she's running straight through. So that all feels nice and solid. Just because, as I was saying, with the old pots and the, you know, attaching with seals and nuts through the body of the pot, they never really felt particularly solid. Okay. Next thing, I'm going to put the element in next, because once I get the sight glass in, this is going to be quite bulky. So we'll swing around this way. Cord, which we won't need just at the moment, in our element. Okay, so there's our element. Now I'm pretty sure, yeah, 2200 watt. It's even, it's got on the kegland element. I think Cheeky Pig one stage did have their own stuff. I mean, this was a concern, one of the concerns after my original 36 litre pot, my HLT, because it wouldn't boil the 36 litre pot. So I was always iffy on going back to this as to whether this would work. Now, this is a well tried and tested element, the kegland element. 2200 watt, low density. This should not have any problem. And for the most part, I won't be boiling full-size batches on this anyway. But yeah, on my 36 litre on the HLT, with the original element, I could not get beyond 96 degrees, which was fine using it for HLT, but I mean, I was never able to use that pot as a boil kettle. And that wasn't at full batch capacity, so anyhow. So element is in. So that came with its tri-clover clamp included. So she's in. So internally, we've got our element, which sits about a centimetre, ½ inch off the bottom of the pot, and we've got our whirlpool arm in there as well. So we're partway there. We've almost got a bloody brew kettle. So the element, which obviously just plugs into the cord, move that out of the way. So next is our sight glass, our main tap, our transfer port. You know, it's got a lot of jobs. So First thing I got to make sure I do is put on my other elbow, which in this case is going to be a pickup tube, not a whirlpool tube. And thinking, which way do I want my bloody sight glass? I don't know, I want it further out or closer. I think it's going to have to go out, because you have to come out further out because that tap's going to be a little bit restricted if it's back there further. So, once again, in with the elbow. And that probably could have done with a little bit of lube, in all honesty. There is my lube. Yeah, just going to smear a bit of lube around these rings. Just to put them in, because they were, it's a tight fit, it was buckling over a little bit, so. Of course, food grade lube. Yeah, don't go get the bloody, don't go get the KY jelly out of the missus top drawer. Leave that for other things. Right. Another seal. There we go. So now, actually, no, we'll stick that in the. We'll orient that in the same direction as the. And it's sitting just off the bottom of the pot. Clamp in. That seems to be reasonably straight. Another disconnect for the front. She goes. I'll tell you what, starting to fucking look a bit like a fucking professional brewer. I've seen these bloody, you see these bits on Facebook and people's bloody garage, all these bits and pieces hanging off them. You go, holy shit. Anyway, there she be. So that's the pot. Pretty well ready to go. Again, we're going to look inside. So we've got our whirlpool and our pickup tube. So that's good to go. We'll get that out of the bloody way. Let's get this bloody lid done. So, lid. And as I said, that's we want our spray ball. So, screwing off. And then another washer on the top. Make sure we sit that with the connection for the spray ball facing downwards. And let me just throw something at you. So I'm going to say, I don't think I've got enough bloody triclovers. This one there. Got one that's over the big fella because I got the 2-inch, because I did buy one for the Element and I didn't realise the Element actually came with one. So anyway, so we'll tie this. So we're on. Set. Now, let's grab this box of rubbish and use that as a stand. So now I've got gonna have elements coming off this. So we'll start here and all. Right, so spray ball. Yeah, so now fitting. So go straight through. And that just screws on. Lovely. So that's on. So we'll put another tap on the truck now. Let's move this up a little bit because we changed the angle of the dangle. Another tap configuration. And let me tell you, I ain't gonna be one triclover short. I certainly am, because I've only got one which will attach that, and I don't have one then to attach the other disconnect. Silly boy, I've miscalculated. Actually, I've got some of these around. I'll better find one somewhere. There should be one sitting on the 36 litre pot, which is down in the garage. I can go and get that. That's all good. Everybody, stop panicking. It's all good. It's going to work out. There we go. Give me a minute to go find another clamp. All my stainless stuff's down there. Back in a second. Alright. There's none down there. As I was saying, the old pots didn't have triclover clamps. Not a single one, apart from the element, which would be 2-inch. So, none in there, there's only box of stainless bits and pieces. Oh, look at this. Man could have saved himself a fucking war. There's two right there. In the top of the odds and ends box. Alright, 3 cheers for the odds and ends box. I'll keep that, I might need it one day. It pays off. Alright, so we can continue on. That was miscalculated. 1, 2, 3. Don't know. Doesn't matter. We'll get away with it. So disconnect on there. And we'll go for the same line up again. Let's get that tap out of the way. Bit like bloody playing the Meccano. Should have got my bloody grandson up here, he probably could have got this together in no time. So that's him. All good. Lid assembled. Spray ball on the bottom. And our recirc line comes back in the top with flow control tap there, because when you're running your pump, a recirc pump, you need to have your control valve at the furthest point in your transfer system. So at the end of the hose, this is where you're controlling the speed of your pump output here. Not anywhere near your pump, it's got to be well up here. So, that's it, it moves. So, that'd be the whole thing. So bits. So she's an impressive bit of gear when she's together, and then the other way. For a tradie pail, I'll be lid. So the basket little girl beaten by a plastic bag. Basket goes in. It's got 4 legs on the bottom, and it's got these little arms. Yeah, these arms go into the pot and they'll sit on the edge. So you can drain your basket by sitting them on, and then stop the basket. You just stick them in and you drop that in, and in she goes. That's our malt pipe, malt bag. And you see there's a bit of room around it. So there's a lot more room for circulation of the wort, than what there is, in the Brewzilla and the Robo Brew. I said the width, the distance, is wider. So they're set up. They're better surface area. You're getting better control over your mash. So ideally, or potentially, you're going to get better mash efficiency out of this unit than you should have a Brewzilla. So that will be what we'll be testing on brew day. So yeah. Lift him up. Little bit of a jiggle. That's going to be interesting. How it goes with a, with 5 kilo, 5.5 kilo of grain in it. But I was sort of hoping those arms might spring a bit easier, but I think of a little bit of a shape. It's not fabulous. And this isn't an issue that I'll talk about brew day, but this basket, this doesn't actually clear the wort. You've still got that much of the basket underneath the top of the pot. So but the reality is, that's clearing, it's probably around the 29 litre mark. So if you're a 23 litre batch, your pre-boil is going to be about 26, 27 litres. So that shouldn't be an issue. But anyway, guys, that's it. The Nano X 36 litre, all-in-one brew kettle pot bloody thing, beer maker. Hopefully we're doing a run on this in a couple of days' time. And you'll see it pretty soon. That's the plan anyway, as long as things don't go awry on me. But anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching. Patrons of the channels, cheers for your support, guys. Big thumbs up. Helps with this sort of thing. There'll be plenty of brews coming with this. If you subscribe to the channel, thank you. If you aren't subscribed, hit the subscribe down below, ring the bell. That way you get notified all the new videos come out. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. But for now, let's move on, Little John. Till I see you in the next video, we're brewing beer, drinking beer, talking beer. Good brewing. Cheers.